1.2 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And I'm not afraid to say.
We're live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are tuned into Black Westchester Presents People Before Politics Radio every Sunday night, 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com. I am your host, A.J. Woodson. As always, Black Popular Demand, Damon K. Jones, still on hiatus. He pops through every now and then. You know what I'm saying? We got the lovely Lorraine Lopez, the co-host, and we got a couple of guests in the house. Real quick, I just want to mention a couple of things real quick. Y'all heard me talk about the Omi Medina situation. Cat that, needed some help. I'm not going to get all into that, the videos on Black Westchester. But, I've had a few phone calls with Disable on the Move, and what was the other place? The Office of Constituent Services. They were going back and forth. I don't have nothing on my mind. Hold on. They were going back and forth, and I got a couple of calls. And after the family wasn't getting no love, because I basically called them and had a couple of words with them. Things are starting to move with the family, and they might actually be placed in a home. And I will give y'all an update on that. But we're still. We will still hold everybody accountable. The owners, the head people in Disable on the Move, they want to meet me, so I'm going to meet with them within a week to 10 days. You know what I'm saying? The mayor's office is calling the family, the mayor's brother and sister-in-law are coming over sending food now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we done made a few things happen, but we're not going to go away because y'all are making some movement. We are not going away until y'all help this family. We will not go away. I will keep to being the thorn in your side until there is some resolution with this family. So I just wanted to say that real quick. And real quick, just getting some business out the way. A couple of haters in the place, and they don't deserve to know to even have their names mentioned. But you know what I'm saying? If you don't have haters, you're not doing anything good. You know what? And you need to look at it like this, yo. Haters are your no. What's that? What's the department in the warehouse? You work in the warehouse, and they always take the products and they product quality control. Yo, haters are your quality control department. And what I mean by that quality control, they take the product out before it goes out. They take it apart, find out all the reasons it won't work. Haters are going to do what they do hate, and they're going to keep telling you every way it won't work. Actually, and if you listen, they might actually find some stuff that you didn't think about that you'd actually fix before it comes out. You know what I'm saying? But if you allow them to be your quality control department, they will always be your motivation and keep you going. So, I want to thank my haters and just say Happy Haters Day. And for some of y'all haters out there, y'all don't have nobody to hate on, y'all just come on hate on me. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to say that we're gonna get on to the show. Here we go. Everybody's mics are on. You have your own control over there. It's a red button or something down there somewhere.
Am I on?
You have your own volume on the mixer somewhere. You can if you can't hear yourself. If you can hear, you don't need the. We have a full room in the house. Shout out in the lobby. We got the legendary Jeff Red in the house. You know what I'm saying? Mount Vernon legend, R&B legend is in the building. You know what I'm saying? As always, we have the lovely Lorraine Lopez, the co-host, the hostess, co-hostess with the mostest.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? And we have the Peekskill Democratic candidates. And first and foremost, we have my man, Andrew Rainey, friend of the show, councilman running for mayor on the Democratic ticket, and I'm gonna let you introduce your slate mates.
Oh, okay. Well, great. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for allowing me here, bringing me back. It's always been a pleasure to come down here, especially to see my man Tony Mitchell. I came at the right time, man. Things happen for a reason.
He just happened to be in town.
Yeah,
and Damon just called me and said, "Yo, find them some time. They're coming on the show." and it might work out because Hope Marable is supposed to be here. And she got busy, so she has some personal stuff she got to take care of. So she may not be here, so we might have a little more time.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm here to keep it real. I'm going to say who I like.
Okay, that's what we're going to
do.
Okay.
There you go. There you go.
The presence of good company, genuine people too at that.
Yeah, you
keep
go.
it 100. That's what it's all about.
Out there in the real world, I keep it real.
And you need to bring the mic probably closer to you.
Don't be in the real world.
Again, there's a red button over there somewhere, and if you can't find it, I need to get Cruz, because you actually control your own mic. I don't have
he got the control. There he is.
You hear me?
I hear you. I don't know if they can hear you.
Hello? One, testing, 1, 2.
There we go.
Testing, 1, 2.
Put your headphones. See if you hear him in the headphones.
All right.
It says he got to show the DJ.
All right. Talk to me.
He's on. Yeah. But there's a button. He has a button over there that I don't know. Yeah. He's gonna have to push it himself.
While they get that together, I'll speak on.
Okay, so you keep you going on.
Yeah. So to my right, I have Vanessa Agudelo. She's running for council this year in the city of Peekskill. I'm happy to run alongside her. She's the only female running in the race this year on either side. So please give her some love for that. We can clap it up for that. Fearless woman. I'll let her give you some information about herself as well. And right next to her is Ramon Fernandez. He's also running for city council in the city of Peekskill. And we also have Colin Smith, who couldn't make it today. He has some other obligations, but he's definitely gonna make an impact in the city of Peekskill. So, but I'll let Vanessa start off, say some things about herself, and then we'll get right into Ramon, if that's all right.
Okay. And as you see, the name of the publication is Black Westchester, not Black Mount Vernon. We cover the whole county. So go ahead.
All right. Well, as you said, my name is Vanessa Agudelo, and I've grown up in Peekskill my whole life. I lived there. I'm first generation Colombian American. My parents are immigrants from Colombia, and I've understood what it's like to struggle growing up. My parents didn't come from much. They were working all the time. Growing up, I didn't really see them, but I understood what it was like to struggle, and I think that gave me a passion to help people. So ever since then, I've been really involved with different community service in my local community. But then as I grew, I became more conscious about political affairs, what was going on around me. I started becoming more involved with activism. I actually was involved with Versus Spectra, which was the frontline activist group fighting the Algonquin pipeline expansion, which was the natural gas pipeline that went through the Hudson River bed 105 feet away from Indian Point. Unfortunately, we were not able to stop it, but we're still fighting all the different segments that they're trying to put further north. And yeah, I mean, I'm an organizer, I'm an activist, I care about the people. That's why I'm running for city council, because I love New York. I love the city of Peekskill. I think it's the best city in the Hudson Valley. I know I might have, some people might argue me about that. We have other folks here representing Westchester, but I definitely think that Peekskill has a lot of potential. It's grown a lot since I was younger, and I want to make sure that it's moving in the right direction, that the people are being represented the way that they deserve, and not just a certain group of people in Peekskill, but everyone. Because we're a very diverse community. We have people that do come from low-income communities, and they need to be empowered and represented as well. And we'll talk about the issues a little later, but that's a little bit about myself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, before we go any further, I want to know how you feel about the whole Immigration Protection Act. I know the county legislators passed it, and the county exec vetoed it. What are your thoughts on that, if you have any?
Well, I mean, I'm not a supporter of our county exec whatsoever. So that's,
Oh man.
that's one.
And we have, just so you know, we have a. She just
We
wrote a
have a
column.
Republican in the
She
House.
wrote a column being Latina and Republican in the Trump era. That's
Oh, wow.
It's not that great.
I'd like to talk to you about that. Yeah, I mean, well, I think that what's going on national level and a state level, it's scary, you know, with what Trump came out about DACA.
right.
I mean, it's ridiculous that, you know, when he was running for election, he described the kind of immigrants he wanted in America, right? The kind that were educated, that spoke English, and these kids that were brought over by their parents by no choice of their own are now, you know, being subject to deportation after living their whole lives here, and that's ridiculous. These are the kind of people that are are educated and want to. First of all, immigrants are the building blocks of our country, and their children are just going to add on to that in a positive direction. And I think it's ridiculous that we as as communities can't stand up and decide in a very tangible way that we are going to protect them regardless of what the president puts out.
Right. And his wife's the immigrant, and it's amazing because
We're all immigrants.
yeah, well, actually we all. Well, some of us didn't. We didn't come over here on our own. But you know, I interviewed. We did Black Westchester. The National Hispanic Heritage Month is September 15th to October 15th, and we dedicated the September issue to. You know, we come out the first to the first, so we dedicated the September issue. And one of the people we interviewed, Virginia Perez, came here. She came here from DR when she was 10 with her parents, and had she been a teen or underage, right now she would be affected. You know what I'm saying? And her parents came here, and she's this example of the dreamers. Their parents came here. They made sure she was the first in the family to ever go to college. She graduated college, and now she's a county legislator in Westchester County. She is an example of a dreamer. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I always throw that out. Like, you know, you never put faces on things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so talking to her, hearing her story with all this going on, it just, you know, and then the lady running for mayor of White Plains, Milagros, her daughter came over, and her daughter was on her application. And when her daughter became of age, she was in limbo and then was subject to the deportation process. You know what I'm saying? Her only crime was that she was of age. You know what I'm saying? Like, she did nothing wrong. She'd been over here with her mother all her life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So those are like two interviews that I just did in the last 30 days, that those are people that real life, you know, are affected or have been affected by the immigration laws or the lack of proper immigration laws. So.
And I appreciate that because their stories need to be heard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now I want to make sure we give you your chance to talk about yourself while you're running and,
Well,
you know, all that good stuff. And if you want to speak on the Immigration Act as well,
yeah,
too.
I don't want to lose that conversation because that really, it's very close to me. You just mentioned to the county legislator from Junker, Miss
Virginia Paris.
Virginia Perez. So maybe we did it in different way.
Right.
Because sometimes I say I am double blessed because I born here in Washington Heights, but my dad and my mom, they get divorced, and she bring us to Dominican Republic. So my first language is Spanish. So it was hard to me to learn English after 16 years or something like that when I came back to Washington Heights in 1989. That was a very, very dangerous place in the 1989. It was a lot of drug dealers outside the street. You just stop in the car and they ask you, what do you want? And they mention every kind of drugs that I never heard. Even I don't remember that now. From the corner to the middle of the street, what do you want? I got this. And my dad was a community person. That's what I define myself now. And in that time when I finished the high school over there, I was really, really very, very excited to come to live in U.S., to learn English and everything, to go to college and everything. I went one semester in La Guardia Community College, and I decided to went back because I don't have like a really good experience that time. And my neighbor, my dad, 2 days before that I came here, he went every single bodega with the police and say they sell drugs, they sell drugs, they sell drugs. And a couple of days when I answered the phone and somebody asked me for him, there was the San Francisco cartel. I never heard that. There was no popular like the Colombian cartel, but it was from Dominican. And they told him, we're gonna blow up your door when you open the door and everything. When I was going to the door, when I came for the college, I just opened the door like that from my right side, like and close my eyes because I was spent to see the door blow up. But the thing is, I have a lot of good learn about that thing and about the immigration. I have the same feel like many people, that young guys from Dhaka, they feel.
Right.
Sometimes I have it criticized by my accent, and people they try to let me know that I am not American. Yes, I am.
Right.
It doesn't matter if I learn another language. Yes, I am. I have the same right that everyone. So, and I have a conversation with somebody about this situation now. I remember you just had to learn a couple history, and the civil rights movement. I feel like this guy, the Dreamer, they do almost very similar. Even the huge immigrant population, they couldn't do it, but they changed the view of the whole U.S. Even President Trump had to take a long time to decide what he's gonna do. Unfortunately, he did it the wrong thing, but he should maybe send some bill to the Congress and say.
And I think you know what, and I think two things, because I was paying attention to that. I honestly think he didn't know what to do, but he has that contingency that he plays to. Them Charlottesville people, them white supremacists, all the people that support him.
Yes.
So he had to do something, you know what I'm saying? But he did it, and I think it stopped any future applications. And now the Congress got 6 months to figure it out. So he kind of like threw it in their lap to make something work, so he can say he did something. You know what I'm saying? And to kind of wash his hands of the situation.
But he also used it as a tool to cut a deal with the Democrats.
We'll see how that works.
But always, what was when I have a conversation with some people, like, and you I think you know the Peacekill Hispanic Community Facebook group. We create that group. We create that group and that organization over there because a lot of Facebook groups in Peacekill, you have some haters. They start to say something against to the Hispanic community, but there is a huge population. It's around 40% in Peacekeeping.
Actually, that's the biggest of the 5 or 6, 7 Facebook pages.
Yes.
That has the biggest numbers. Like,
yes, it is.
Yeah,
and everybody's over there. All the elected officials.
Because I left my thing, I was like, oh wow. I was like, I gotta post it here more. Like, I was like, so the numbers. I was like, yeah.
And it's not only for Hispanic, but the majority they are. But the thing is, over there in. We have some kind of the discussion conversation about that when they start to talking about they're illegal. You have to follow the law. You have to follow the regulation. And always, I am Christian, and I say, well, Jesus went to Egypt, and he had to learn another language because he was, tried to, her mom and her dad tried to save him. And that's another time. There was no rule. There was no law. And I said, Rosa Parks, he did something simple. And the law has to change for that time.
Right.
And somebody told me, you mentioned that, well, that's different because all people that was referring to the black people, the African American, they didn't come to this country because they didn't want to come. And I said, well, that young kid, the Dreamer, they have almost the same.
Right.
The parents they bring there.
Right.
They don't decide to get.
Right. They had no choice.
They don't have choice, and now they don't know. Maybe some of them they don't
even
know
know their country, and they don't know their
Spanish.
country that they came from.
Yeah.
They don't know the country.
And we talk about the Hispanic population, but someone they're from another area, even not
right.
from just from Latin America.
Right. You got those other countries that they're not even bringing up the topic to, such as Germany and
Irish.
these other Irish.
Well, I wanted to bring that too. We say that all the time. and I know a lot of people from the music business. The biggest group of immigrants are Europeans who came over here on student visas, whose visas have expired, and they continue to stay. And they're here illegally, but they have Social Security cards somehow, and they work jobs and they pay taxes. You know what I'm saying? They got apartments and everything. But there's a group that's the biggest group of immigrants. You know what I'm saying? But they have a face. They put your face as far as immigrants the same way they put our faces on welfare when we're the smaller number. Like there's more white people on welfare than there's some black people, but you never see white people in any welfare anything. You only see us. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the reasons we started Black Westchester, to help change the narrative, and why we wanted to dedicate this second issue to National Hispanic Heritage Month, to show. And I interviewed Willie Colon, and we were talking about how our communities used to be so much closer, but we've allowed the powers to be not only to divide us individually as cultures, but divide us within our cultures as well.
Right. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yes.
And we have to get past those games. So, because listening to him talk about what the problems that Hispanics, he might as well have been talking about, the same stuff I'll be talking about as far as the black issues. So I was like, there's so much, and we need to have these conversations and show that. And hopefully I did a little bit of that in that issue, showing how where our communities are more together than we have more in common than not.
Definitely we have. Even my friend over there, I don't know if we have that conversation in the at a school
school board meeting. One of the school board meetings.
That we're talking about how we're gonna try to bring the community together. That's and right. Different kind of sport and everything that I mentioned on one of the meetings over there. That we need to Now I am the president for the Peekskill Youth Soccer Club in Peekskill. This is I think it's the more the huge sport that every people play over there. A lot of kids.
Yeah.
and I know Peekskill, it was basketball before.
Right.
And you work in that basketball too.
I was doing basketball and football.
But now that was what we're talking about. We need to create some kind the activity, like the basketball kids, the football kids, the soccer kids. We're gonna meet everyone and play 3 sports and
support.
Try to create like some activity. Now we are talking in the slate that create some traditional festival,
right.
And like a diversity festival in Peekskill. And that's the way that we can, bring together, because sometimes, the forum, they're good because you're starting to learn and you can create something, regulation. But when you can meet the population, you have to talk about sport, you have to talk about music, you have to talk about food. That's right. That's what you're doing when you date. That's the first thing you're gonna food. You're gonna go on a dinner or something like that. So I think that's the way that we can create a build between the diversities. And we have in Peekskill a lot of diversity. I mean, a huge diversity community. A lot of people from Africa, from Ghana,
from all over. That's right.
Yeah.
Peekskill is a beautiful place.
The population from Jamaica is huge over there.
And to me, that's the thing that having different cultures and the ability to communicate amongst different cultures. I would always think, as a young kid, I always want to know about the Brazilian culture, the Hispanic culture, Colombia, Dominican Republic, African. I wanted to know about that. Nowadays, with the way the politics are now, they make you afraid to know about different cultures because they make it sound like everybody's bad, except for them.
Right.
But it is so crazy and it's frustrating. I enjoy Latin food. I enjoy different types of food. I get tired of a little soul food. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Sometimes you want to change it up. And so I don't understand what's all the problems, because we all put a shoe on the same foot. We all put socks on, pants on, a dress on. And the only difference is that you see a complexion or you see a different language, but we all want to survive. We all want to be happy.
We're all human beings.
That's right. We all want to be happy. And I think that we can be happier together. We have more in common than we have different. We want to be happy.
Right.
So I implore people to ignore the negativity about other cultures.
Right.
I implore people to grasp and get to learn the other cultures, because you'll find that I've been different places and I've found so much that I love about different cultures.
That's right.
And I will never, I do not regret any moment spending with any different culture. And at times, like I tell my wife, it's time to go back here. It's time to go back here.
Mm-hmm.
I miss that. I miss the food. So, I miss the dance. I miss the music. So I implore people to go out and experience different cultures. That's a way that we can get to know each other better. Because all these wars and all this different stuff is, all it's about is misunderstanding and miscommunication. So we need to get together on this.
Absolutely.
And I love this ticket.
Absolutely. I want to do a little housekeeping, because I'm getting a lot of. We are not on Facebook Live today. Complications, but if you're on Twitter, you can. I'm on Twitter Live, AJROK, and Periscope Live, AJROK, or you can go to In the Mix, 2 X's, inthemixradio.com, INTHEMIXXRADIO.com, and there's a chat room in there that you can sign in with your Facebook page, and the same way you leave comments and talk to us on Facebook, you can talk to us in the chat room. So I think that's it. Twitter, AJROK, Periscope, AJROK, and inthemixradio.com. Because everybody's like, I'm getting so many, like, I don't see you. Like, are y'all on today? So I had to get that out the way. So, yeah, we have a lot. We have to, but it's up to us to, it's up, like our ancestors handed down our heritage.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? From generation to generation. I know, the Africans and Black, I'm assuming it's the same way. And at some point, our generations have lost that. Like, we're not doing the same. The school, we can't rely on the school systems to teach us about us. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to learn, and we have to teach our young so they can continue to carry that on, and that's very important. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we keep our heritage and alive, and we know more about. Because they had a heritage day at a school recently, and everybody had to bring in something from their heritage, and black people brought in Kentucky Fried Chicken. Mm-hmm. The black kids. That's what they and their mother took them to the Kentucky Fried Chicken to get it. You understand what I'm saying? People brought in Latin dishes and Irish dishes and all that, and kids came in with a bucket of chicken.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's what they know about. That's their history as far as they're concerned. Like,
they just need to be educated a little bit more too. Some people only do what they know.
Right, but I mean, if the parents didn't know, because the parents took the kids to Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying? Like, the parents took their kids there. The kids didn't walk there themselves.
But it goes back to the schools play an important part. I think they underestimate the importance of exposing our young children to different cultures. They're so indoctrinated with teaching U.S. history, which they fail to mention that U.S. history is really immigrant history.
Absolutely, all the way through.
All the way through. And the indigenous people that were here, it's about a paragraph or a page. And the same thing goes for the other cultures, whereas you have all this other stuff, and they fail to mention that a lot of these presidents and their backgrounds goes all the way to Europe and different places. So I say this it's upon, like you said, it's upon us to initiate and reignite that energy.
That's right.
To educate about the different cultures, because we're all intertwined.
Right.
How did my man Ernie Davis used to say? We are in what's the word? Come on, you know what he used to say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where we were all inextricably intertwined.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That's what we are, and we really are. I mean, we all come from the same foundation.
I want to say two things. One, are y'all in a rush? Y'all staying for the whole show, or y'all have to leave at a certain time?
No, we're not in a rush.
Okay,
Yeah,
what we're gonna do?
it.
Are you in a rush?
Yeah, I want to get in and out.
Okay, because I have the
Jeff
Yonkers City Council president, and he's in a rush. So I want to get him in, and then you know what I'm saying. I'm y'all here. We're gonna make sure we take y'all get your full time, but he only has a certain amount of time. So okay, so he'll be here in 20 minutes, whatever.
And then me and Jeff will get in.
Oh yeah, okay, that'll work.
I want to.
Oh, actually, he can sit right there. Okay. Yep, he can sit right there.
Okay,
There you
good.
go.
And then I want to get my endorsement out for Peekskill.
Okay, there you go. There you go. There you go. There you
Mitchell,
go.
boy.
There you go. There you go. But what I wanted to say with the whole black, the thing about teaching specifically Black history right now, a lot of people, black and white, think our history started the slave ship coming over here. Like that's our history. So, not teaching Black history continues racism, because all white people are told is we were 3/5 of a man. We weren't. We weren't. They owned us. I mean, that's what they're taught. You understand what I'm saying? Like they weren't taught no value about us, that we had any value. So when you learn that at a young age, and you see things like Roots and other programs, I mean, subconsciously some of that systematic racism just trickles down, whether you mean for it to or not. You know what I'm saying? So it hurts everybody by not teaching the history of all. That's why we deal with that with Black history. It hurts not just Black people, it hurts everybody in our relationships by not teaching, and our individual histories again as well, because we're in a country full of, like you said, full of immigrants.
And it goes even deeper than that, because I love that you mentioned indigenous people. I mean, we have the fact that we don't teach our children how violent, the Europeans came over and just raped and killed the indigenous people and completely took over their land. We don't even have the full numbers as to how many Native American people there were actually in this country, on American soil, and we don't talk about that.
So we're gonna teach you how to survive, and to say thank you, we're gonna give you smallpox. That's what happened. So we have a guest in the house.
But you know what? Something about the
I am, and that's what I'm trying to do right now.
No, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is knowing that we have a sense of responsibility, to make sure that we are all on a level playing field. All of us deserve to be on a level playing field, because the way America got here is it's not a pretty picture. It's not,
right.
And that's the reality.
Hey, look, and I'm going to say this real quick. I did my DNA. I came back 74% African, 10% Irish, 8% Britain, 2% Iberian Peninsula, and 1% for Kakistan. So, look, all it basically says is I'm a human being.
Right.
Yeah.
And we need to we need to stick with that race as opposed to trying to divide everybody up. If you do business, you want to get as much as you can by entertaining as many people as possible. You hurt yourself when you start separating.
Right.
So, if we're going to really do economics, if we really want to move this country forward, we need to recognize everybody as human beings and start entertaining them as such.
Absolutely. Now we want to move quickly. I want to introduce our guests, because you have to be in and out. We've met at Independence Party. Doc introduced us actually a couple of years ago. Leah McLaughlin. Yonkers City Council President. And I want to give you
I just want to say, first of all,
before
that's
politics,
amazing. We have the same DNA.
There you go. See, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
I don't know how that could be. You must be brothers.
Yeah, we are brothers. No matter how
right
you
about
choose,
that.
we're brothers and sisters.
You're right about that.
Also, would you like a bottle of water?
Sure, I'll take the
Get
water.
one of those waters right there. Yeah, there you go.
Thank you, Lorraine.
All right. So, like I said, we met. Now it's funny because we were talking. I was talking to Maxwell from Peekskill, and it's like in Mount Vernon we have 5 city councils. We don't have districts, and the city council then votes every year on which one of those 5 is going to be the president. In Yonkers, you don't even have to be on the council. You can just run for council president. Like that's one of the things I learned doing the show, and I was like, that baffled me. Like, wow.
Well, for us, it's a little different. So we have 6 council members who each run in geographic districts, and then a council president who runs at large, who runs it in the entire city.
Right.
That would be you.
That's me.
Right. So, is this how long have you been the president?
So I'm president of city council. My first term. So
okay.
I'm closing in on 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And prior to that, he was city councilman.
Yes.
Okay, that's when I met you. You was
That's right.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I was councilman for the 4th District, Southeast Yonkers.
Okay. So, you're running in a race against Mike Cape.
Oh, don't worry about who I'm running.
Okay.
That's right. Talk to him.
Right?
Let's leave that one out.
We do. We have primaries on the independents and conservative and green parties.
This is the first year. I've been back. I was in Atlanta for 10 years. Since I've been back in 2014, this is the first year I've seen so many Independence Party primaries.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen so many Independence Party primaries. Like, I'm like, wow.
I think people have decided that, if they think that they support the values or the people who are enrolled in the party, that they want to let them know and give them a chance to vote for who they want to vote for, not just let the party bosses kind of make the decision.
Yeah. So real quick, for the people that don't know you, they don't know your history, tell us a little bit about who you are, how you got into politics.
Sure. Although I feel bad. I feel like now I'm hogging up the...
Well, no, actually, they're going to stay for the whole show. They did the intros, and they're going to stay for the show, and I know you said you could stay for a certain amount of time.
Sorry, I do have something
so we're cutting it. We do this little juggling thing sometimes.
It's all right. Well, Lee McLaughlin, I grew up in Yonkers, spent almost my entire life living in the city of Yonkers. Mm-hmm. And served on the city council for 10 years. Was term limited, represented Southeast Yonkers, was term limited, came off the council for 4 years, and then ran for city council president 4 years ago and won, and I'm finishing up my first term and running for re-election. I live with my wife Debbie and my son Ryan Patrick and our dog Jesse, and we live in Southeast Yonkers, right 5 blocks from my parents' house.
Oh wow!
So yeah, so my son goes to the same grammar school that I went to, and we're just neighborhood people.
There's none of the same teachers are still around, are they?
No, but close. Close. The principal there came shortly after I left. Yeah.
So what I was going to ask you, I know one of the things, we have a homeless advocate, Laura Case, who does a lot of writing for us, and she's done a bunch of series on homelessness in Yonkers and homelessness in Westchester, and the situations with the homeless shelters. They're closing one, and one that they're in that the guys can't shower in the morning before they leave, and it is a big problem. So I wonder your thoughts on homelessness.
Sure, I've had a lot of conversations with the mayor about this, and that's one thing that I'm very pleased with, having been on the council. So for this entire term that I've been on the council, we've had a Republican majority working with, and I'm a Republican, but working with our Democratic mayor, in a really good bipartisan way.
I just want to stop you real quick.
Sure.
That is such an amazing thing, because in Mount Vernon, we just have Democrats, and they're all black, and they can't get along. So that's just like, I'm just glad to hear.
No,
like,
that is commendable.
Yeah.
Even in the United States government,
right.
We're not even getting that bipartisan.
And that's my feeling.
Cooperation.
If we could have the way we do it at the local level, if we could have that type of bipartisanship, Albany and Washington could really take a look at us and say, these guys got it right. They're working it right because. And Lorraine and I served on the council together, and at times there's councils that work well with mayors. At times there's too many people who want to be the mayor.
Right.
We're legislators. We're not the mayor. We don't run the city. We vote the budget. We vote laws. We vote on zone changes and things of that nature. But we're not the mayor. We don't run the city. So don't try to be the mayor. Do your job. Hopefully work with the mayor. Allow some vision and some cooperation. And that's what we've had. It's really worked great. We've got a lot of economic development that's going on in the city of Yonkers. Creating a lot of jobs. And this is the stuff we want to do. We all live there. It's our neighborhood. It's our home. And as it bounce all around the city, there's issues in all neighborhoods, and they vary widely. Yonkers is a very diverse city. Probably one of the most diverse cities around. We've got some
fourth largest city
in the state. Yeah. So we've got some very wealthy people. We've got people that need a lot of help. And balancing, that is what we try to do. And particularly if you're working with the administration, because this way you council members can sometimes tend to just represent their districts if they just have a district. I have the benefit of running at large in the entire city, so you really try to look at it from a global perspective.
Right.
But to that point, there was in working with our mayor, Mike Spano, we've had a lot of discussions about this, and there was some issues in some of these homeless shelters. And I know the woman you're speaking about, she's come to a number of our council meetings, and she's advocating on behalf of the homeless. Part of the problem was,
and she's homeless herself.
She is. I know.
Yeah.
I know. And again, this is part of what we're trying to do. We want to create jobs. I want to put people to work.
Right.
People want to work. Let's get them a job.
She should have a job. She comes here with folders and facts. And when you try to say she has the documents and she can shut you down if you do not know what you're talking about, yes. And it's like, then we dropped her off at the shelter, like when we left here, and I'm just sitting here like, she's amazing, and you would not know that she's homeless. And she also educated us on this growing trend of working homeless people who work 9 to 5, their kids go to school every day, but they don't have nowhere to stay in the shelter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know that was a thing. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
it's like,
You wouldn't think it should be.
yeah, but she said it's growing considerably these days.
Well, a lot of us are just a paycheck
Check
away.
away, yes, that's
what they
say.
The reality,
It's all
that's a
very
real
tight.
reality.
It's all very tight.
Right.
I work 2 jobs. My wife works a job. We only have 1 child, and still just to be able to make everything work.
Well, I ain't gonna lie, I'm retired. And I'm not looking for work.
Well, good for you.
Yeah.
We all strive to get there, But to that point, I think some of the issues were with the homeless shelters in Yonkers was that they were county run, and they were subpar conditions, quite frankly. So when there were some complaints made, the building department went in and they have an obligation. They've got to look at these things when the complaints come in, and there were violations. People living in places where they couldn't live, or shouldn't live, or things that hadn't been built out properly. So I know some places were closed down. But obviously the city wants to do its job.
So in those situations, just to educate me, with its county run, so would the city be able to work with the county or does the city have to do the renovations, or do you have to hold the county, get the money back from the county?
It depends upon the facility, honestly.
Right.
Typically, I think most of the ones were county owned. So there's issues. There was some issues back and forth between the county and the city, and I think that's mostly been squared away, and 1 or 2 places were closed, the rest have been fixed. There was some lawsuits involved,
Right.
So it's when things don't go smoothly, unfortunately. But I think it's all heading in the right direction. You got to make sure people are safe. God forbid you have people living in unsafe conditions and there's a fire or something else.
Right.
Which was, I think, the city's primary concern.
Right. So are the ones that were closed, are they opening, or are they close to being open again, or you don't know?
I think some were closed, but the rest have been were fixed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Because we live in a county where, which is one of the richest, one of the richest counties in the country.
Yes.
Or the richest county in the country, actually, from the stat.
It's at least in the top 3.
Right. And they don't think that poverty and homelessness exists. Especially above White Plains. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just don't think these are, because they kick all of that down to Yonkers. Yonkers and Mount Vernon and some a little bit in the show have been dumping grounds from where, like Mount Vernon, we get a lot of that, and we're only 4x4. And they just dump everything, that they don't want. So I know y'all have that problem as well.
We have our share of homelessness, and like you said, people living just above the poverty line, paycheck away from real problems. So it's and that's constantly what we're trying to juggle.
So how do we, if anything, is there anything we can do to help the quality of life, or how do you tackle that? Like, how do you?
It's a big issue. Part of one of the biggest ways we tackle it is through the school system.
Yes.
And always trying to get more funding for the schools is an important thing, because it's not just the education. There's the education. Then we find out that as you really delve into these things, there's a tremendous number of kids that are getting most of their meals, at school.
Right.
And they're parents that are working, so nobody's home. They're trying to put food on the table and keep a roof over the kids' heads, and they got to work to make that happen.
Right.
And then, there's kids are in school for the better part of the day, and they're getting their meals there. So, these are the types of things that we do and we need to do, but we always, it's just you always need more money. So we're constantly lobbying Albany to try to get more money. To help improve our education system. I mean, we need to rebuild our schools. Our schools are falling apart. We have one of the oldest school systems, in the state, and we need $2 billion. Billion with a B.
I was down in Charlotte, and I looked at the schools there, and I'm gonna tell you, down there, I don't know what they're doing, how they're doing it. The middle schools look like high schools. The high school look like universities. They are investing, and I think one of the schools was only 10 years old. And they're looking to build another school. So I don't know what they're doing right down there in terms of that. I don't know how extensive the education is. But as far as the facilities, phenomenal. They're phenomenal. And I think it's something that some of the northern politicians need to go down there and take a look. And maybe they can explain it. Maybe there's a just reason why it's happening. But the schools were phenomenal. I don't know about the educational content, but they really put those buildings together for them out there.
Really?
It's the same way on the West Coast too. Out in Las Vegas, the schools look beautiful.
Beautiful.
I mean,
Las Vegas is the same way. So-
football fields, everything is just nice, well maintained.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my.
I one of my Mount Vernon listeners was like, we were talking about people not being able to eat. We have a thing called the soup kitchen in Mount Vernon where a lot of people who have jobs, they can't afford to buy food. That's where they eat, and all their funding was cut. So we're going to be doing some stuff to help them raise some money. I just want to throw that out there. I'll be doing some stuff for the soup kitchen. Hashtag Save the Soup Kitchen. So I'll talk more about that later. But she had said that's what the soup kitchen in Mount Vernon is very instrumental for the same things.
And
That's
we've
where
got
some of them get their
Similar to
meals.
St. Yonkers, too.
Yeah, yeah.
Sharing community. I mean, you go down there and there's they're constantly helping, constantly trying to
They're
serve.
still
people.
feeding folks?
Oh yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah.
Great. That's great.
So what do you think in your opinion could be improved in Yonkers? You said the schools. What are the
That's probably the biggest issue we're facing right now. I mean, it's always just the school budget, and without trying to get into too much acrimony because it's one of the bigger issues.
now
Yonkers-
the city controls the school because like we have in Mount Vernon, the city doesn't have any control. The school is its own entity.
It's its own taxing
And they
authority all
get
that,
66 cents off every dollar. Like, you know what I'm saying? Goes to the school tax.
It's
Basically,
Yonkers is a little unique in that regard.
Right, because-
We have what's called a dependent, independent school district. It used to be, it was dependent upon us for the finance, but other than that, we kind of had no control over it.
No.
So they would come to us during our budget cycles, and the Board of Ed would kind of slip us a number and say, we need, $487 million. But then when you kind of really tried to get involved in the process and whatnot, the city council couldn't do it. Recently, we've gotten a little more control,
Right.
and I think that's a good thing because look, if the elected officials are going to be out there campaigning and talking to people, and people are holding them responsible for what's going on, you should have some say. And so with that, we now do have more say because there was a problem. There was a $55 million hole in the Board of Education. Literally 2 weeks after I took office, the mayor calls me up. He says, "We got a problem." They did an audit of the Board of Education and found out there's $55 million that was, improperly accounted for.
But you guys are still recovering from what happened years ago. Wasn't there something with the budget years ago? So you guys are still.
It's
There's always something with the budget.
Right.
every
It's
year.
each year. It's each year
Yeah.
because we don't, you don't control the budget. So, if the funding comes down from Albany, if costs go up, which they do, you got
All
teacher
the time.
contracts, you got CSEA contracts, you got just, fuel costs and everything else. The price and cost of everything go up, but we don't get a corresponding increase from the state in the revenues. Then who's going to pick up the difference? And that's becomes
How's the
city.
line of communication? I mean, is it reluctant school board that wants to work with, or is it?
No, the
It's
school board's been
accommodating?
great. The school board and the superintendent have been fantastic.
Good.
So it's and even back in the old days when we had less control, it wasn't that it was ever bad. It's just that they kind of had their job to do and they saw it that way. And then
Do
they
y'all
would
do
just-
the shared resources?
There are, yes, and that's one of the ways that we're trying to save money. By there's no need to have two purchasing departments and two law departments. So now there's one law department that handles both the city and the Board of Education. So there's some cost savings there, and that's helped. But we got this big issue of $2 billion.
So hopefully the school system don't sue the city. Then y'all need another lawyer.
Speaking of suing,
We
The
can-
mayor appoints right? He appoints the superintendent?
He does.
Oh, okay. See, we don't have that either.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have an
I
election.
know they tried in Mount Vernon.
They did.
They just tried to
to
get
make
them.
let the mayor be the appointment.
Right. Yeah, but again, one of the
Well,
positive
actually, I'm
things.
sorry. No, now that I think about it, it's really
The
the
board.
board,
The board
the
that
board
the mayor appoints.
that the mayor appoints.
The
Yeah.
mayor
So
appoints.
let me back that up. The mayor appoints
Oh,
the
so
board
the board-
members.
okay.
But the board members.
We don't even
appoint.
have that. There's an
Right,
election.
but,
they have their own election. The school board has their own
Sorry, I
election
got to
too.
correct that. Yeah.
The one good
Same
thing
reason.
that you do have is a positive dialogue, and I think part of the problem in Mount Vernon is that there's a lack of trust in a lot of those issues.
Absolutely.
That's why they can't get. Right now they can't get it done, unfortunately. But it's a model that everybody needs to start looking at, because ultimately we all trying to help the people in the community that we serve. So I
And I
I
wanted to
commend
give
you on that.
I want to give a plug. You was talking about, there's a paper that's been around a while in Mount Vernon, the Mount Vernon Inquirer. They have racks in all the key places. We've been online 3 years and we just went print in August, and we couldn't get it in some places. And most people are like, oh, he's very territorial. He don't like competition. They're gonna take your papers and throw them away. Like I was really ready to do like a fight. Like, so I get a call. Hey, AJ, how you doing? This is Joe. Hey, yo, congratulations on the paper. There's a bottom rack in our racks that we never use. You can use all of them.
Which is in there.
You know what I'm saying? So we're competing media outlets working together. And if we can do it, I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, well, but I'm just saying
Everybody's out.
Yeah, but I mean
the media fights more than we do. I think.
Right, but I mean that was just such a selfless act. You know what I'm saying? Like, because there's places like
But
the
I think
post
it's a
office.
smart business thing too.
It's smart because I'm plugging the heck out of them. So I mean, you know what I'm saying?
But also, you're giving people, things to read. People moving away from print media
Right.
to the computers.
Right.
I think that was a smart move.
Yeah. So it just if I listened to the people, I would have been on some real. When he called, to be honest, I was kind of ready to hear something. And he was calling to congratulate me and offer me the rack, and he has racks all over the city.
That's great.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like we can work together, and people will consider us competition, even though, we cover things from two different aspects.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it just shows that people in Mount Vernon can work together. We just kind of make it happen, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess there's a lot of rough and tumble politics going on in Mount Vernon nowadays. Right?
Yeah. But, yeah, I've gotten to see some of the media stuff over the weekend. I'm like, gosh, man, they have, gee whiz, like a personal attack. Yonkers media. I'm like, yo, they were.
Oh yeah, now it's drumming up.
I was like, man, they going at it like.
We got a story to tell for y'all what's going on in Peekskill.
Yeah, well,
Oh man.
With the media or just with the politicians? Or?
Both.
Oh, okay.
The media that was assigned by the politicians. That's what it is, if you ask me.
Wow.
Well, that's
We'll
what we
get
have.
into that. We'll get into
that's
that.
what one of your Yonkers politicians is paying one of the media people, and he's causing trouble for everybody.
A piece of crap paying a piece of crap.
Okay, well, they should remain nameless.
Yeah, I got nothing to do with that. It should be. That's the problem, I guess, is that it's become so dependent. One becoming dependent on the other. So
Right.
all these the media outlets are going to the people that are running for office and looking to get paid for
Extorting them, yes.
maybe extorting them might be the right word, and then it's all crazy. So to me that's a conflict of interest. They shouldn't be able to take money if you're going to be a media source. But it's tough because then they're trying to pay for their stuff.
I mean, we'll do ads.
We'll do
We'll do
yeah.
ads, and very rarely, I will do an advertorial, but I will say paid advertorial over it. It looks like an article, but it's a paid
As long as
advertorial,
you
and
make
it
it
says
clear,
paid
yeah.
advertorial.
Yeah.
And just when you take money to write certain things, you know what I'm saying, about certain people, and it's under the table. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're really not.
I don't
you know
even
what I'm saying?
know. I just read some of this stuff, and they were literally saying that they were working out deals where they were getting exclusive rights, and that the whoever the blogger was couldn't write anything positive about me, or about the person's opponent. I'm like, then you're not media.
He did. He asked him. He said, for $100 a week, I won't write nothing but negative stuff about Leanne.
Yeah, actually, your name did come up in there. Like, yeah.
How could they find that much negative stuff?
Yeah, that their name did come up, and I was like, wow, like they're really
For
going.
$100 a week, huh?
Right?
Yeah, $100 a week.
I'm a foul week.
It
But
is
if you
crazy.
say no to him, he comes after you too.
Well, yeah, if you don't
Yeah.
give him the $100 a week, then you're his target.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's
yeah.
like, I you know what? There's a special place for that.
Yeah.
Well, that's where it's crossing the line. No matter who's
it
doing
is.
it. Either way, if that's how it's working,
And then politicians have been known to pay media sources to purposely damage their.
I don't think in Yonkers.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm saying
It's-
throughout Westchester. Let's just keep it real.
Except for London. Other than that, nobody else.
I don't know about
Just saying.
all I'm saying throughout Westchester.
that.
I've
Get me in a
seen-
lot of trouble in here.
Yeah, throughout Westchester. So what are your
We ain't got nothing to
what
do with
you,
this, but,
if you have I don't know, your platform or things that are passionate that you are fighting for, and
Look, what
Continue
I
to
want to do is keep Yonkers a good place to live and raise your family. Hopefully people can work there. We want to create economic development. That to me has always been a major driving force. We've got this beautiful riverfront that we're developing. It's an amazing
beautiful
amenity.
library on the riverfront.
And the library was there when I mean, we built it, right? Lorraine, I think you were on the
Yeah.
council too
Yeah.
when we voted for that. And that was a big deal for the city because we had to commit a lot of money to do that, but that's what helped kind of kickstart the economic development in that area. And it's still going. We literally have $2 billion worth of economic development that's in the pipeline. And by doing that, you know, what I want to happen there is for our people to go to work. You know, you put people to work in good jobs, teach them trades. You know, let them build and know how to build, and you know, get construction jobs. And that to me is an important part of you know, keeping the city good and allowing people to stay there. You know, too many people as we go around say, you know, my son wants to stay here, or my daughter wants to live here, but they just got married and
You can't afford it.
they can't get any jobs around here.
But when you do have those jobs like that, you bring down the violence and everything. That's what it all comes down to. You know, you stop people from getting in gangs and stuff like that. When they have opportunities, they have jobs and education. So you're hitting right on point.
That's
You're
what we're
hitting
trying to
all
do.
the-
You know,
all
want to
the-
put people to work, and I think that's to stay away from the nonsense.
Right.
Now you mentioned trades, and I always say that like every kid is not college bound.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that's not a bad thing. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
a great thing. You know,
But
the richest guys in my neighborhoods are the contractors who can work on their own houses and buy, you know, a house and fix it up and rent it and
They charge you to work on their house.
and they're doing great. You know, so no, not everybody should go to college. You know, the trade schools.
we have to have trades that are with today. You know, like some people just need refreshing their skills and updating their skills to make them more attractive to the more viable. And we don't, and that's one of the problems I see in urban America. Just not just our city, but urban America. A lot of people just don't have the skills, you know, to get the new job, whatever the jobs are now. Like, you know, a lot of jobs that you could get before, you can't get those jobs now. So if there's new jobs, we have to train the people for those new jobs now.
Yeah.
You know.
No, you're right about that. You always got to keep keep going and keep on top of your game.
Yeah.
But that's, you know, that's a big part of it. So, and to me, you know, things like it's the small stuff, the quality of life, the keeping the neighborhood safe, you know, keeping neighborhoods clean. You know, litter has been, you know, it's like it's never an issue that pops up as the biggest issue a city faces, but it's one of those things that if you don't keep your streets clean, you know, it sends the wrong message to people.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're trying to do things to help keep the city clean and litter free, and you know,
Got the cameras.
we don't have the cameras yet, but yes, we passed legislation to allow to have cameras. You know, similar to these red light cameras, which people hate. But once they get the hang of them, once they realize where they are, everybody's okay. But we'll put up litter cameras so that, you know, you watch people that drive past you that throw their garbage out the window. You know, and this way, if the cameras catch them, they can zoom in on the license plate. We send that person a ticket, and then like that, you know. I remember one of my brothers one time took my mother's car and got a ticket on the Easy Pass. Well, after my mom was done with him, you know, he didn't do that no more.
And it's funny, you know, it's when you go somewhere that's clean, you're less likely to throw your stuff on the ground. I always use the example, my stepmother, her kitchen is white and it's spotless. And oh Lord, if I spill something,
leave
I would get that
nothing.
right up.
Clean it
But you
right.
go to somewhere else out, you know, and this stuff all over the place, you just might not, you know, really
Just get
care
a
to
little
pick it.
rub.
Yeah. You might just rub it in the floor a little bit or something, you know. But the same thing if you go down a block that's spotless, you know, some people are just ignorant and they're gonna do it. But, you know, a lot of people are like, oh wait, hold on, let me hold on to that. Like, you know, you don't want to be the one to throw that, you know, because the neighborhood looks good.
And then, you know, hopefully that gets contagious. You know, I walk around in the morning, I walk my dog, I pick up the garbage that, you know, a lot of times it's kids too, you know, it's just silly stuff. They're eating a bag of chips and they
Right.
toss it. You know, so it's not the biggest crime in the world, but it's just a quality of life thing. You try to keep the neighborhood clean and your city clean, and hopefully other people follow suit.
And if everybody just cleaned up in front of their house,
Exactly.
like, you know what I'm saying, this is where in front of where you live.
Yeah, you can see the difference when you go on streets like that and you see like 7 nice houses and one house just like destroys the whole image of the whole street. Right?
Yeah.
That happens.
It's tough to deal with that. Right? How do we deal with that? And then they come to you and say, well, you know, you got to talk to my neighbor. We'll get him to clean up.
Right.
It's not
Well,
so
see,
easy.
in Atlanta, they have home.
Homeowners Association.
Yes, homeowners association.
they have
If
those
your,
in
gra-
Peekskill, too,
if
yeah.
your grass is over
they
6
do.
inches, they're coming out with a
coming at
ruler and they're literally giving you a warning and then they're giving you a fine. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
that's-
literally,
they do
like,
they have the same thing in
yeah.
Peekskill.
Yeah.
So
Because,
if you like somebody painted their house like purple or something, and the whole neighborhood got crazy. Yo, they made them people repaint their house
Some
because
of those
that
are
like did
hardcore.
not belong in this neighborhood,
Well,
like that color purple.
That's what the contract states. You have to contact the homeowners association before you make those moves. You know, I have a house down in Charlotte where the mailboxes all have to be the same height, same look, the
Same
same
character.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
character. And then even when you do something, you have to contact the homeowner association and get permission. You know,
Right.
if you're having a party in your yard or whatever, you got to contact them.
And even the mailbox, like they my friend lived in Stone Mountain, and they had really nice mailboxes. They, you know, it was came with the house. It was there, and somebody ran the curb and knocked down his mailbox. Yo, the mailbox is like $300 though, and he's like, he wanted to get a lesser mail. You have to get that mailbox because everyone has that mailbox, and it looks so uniform and it looks so nice. But the mailbox is like $300 and he's like, yeah, I can't afford the mailbox. So.
Those types, we have some of those historic districts too, or districts,
I was just
and
gonna say,
yeah,
historic district,
yeah, where they limit what you can do, and that's really, you know, look, if, in those neighborhoods, if that's what people want and that's what they've signed on to, they know about it when they're buying their houses. So
Right.
they're coming into it.
Well, see, everybody likes it, you know, that everybody else will be, you know, policed and everybody else but nobody wants it to be them. Nobody wants you know.
The person that comes in and wants to put the extension on their house and has to deal with all that, you know, a lot of times it's going to cost them some real money. They might not have considered that at the time they were buying, but it does really help keep a neighborhood nice.
No, it does.
When you say about the library, it was for the city budget. That was
It was a library board of education building, yeah, that we built.
okay.
Yeah.
I just asked the question because sometimes in Peekskill, the administration that we have over there, when the private sector they come in to do something, they say, "Oh, we got a double employment and everything," but I don't see that, you know, that we have that same thing. Like the city can say, "Well, we got this kind of renovation and the park and rec and the parking building, whatever." So, and that's my very, very huge question that I do in many places. Like, and always I heard that we can do it like Junkers did it. So,
I mean, it's a big
good
deal.
to
Your
hear
name is
now.
on the plaque. still.
That's right. Your name is on the plaque. I see it. We bonded for most of the money, you know, so it's an expensive proposition, but it was needed. One, we needed the library. The Board of Education needed facilities. And at the time I was working in Manhattan, and so the train goes right past where we're building. And people literally said to me at my job, you know, or I literally one day somebody on an elevator had seen me on the news or something and said, "Oh, you're from Yonkers. What are you guys building there? It looks amazing." You know, and they were so impressed by.
Yeah, because the train's right across the street. Like,
Right, train goes right past us.
Right,
So
yeah.
and they, you know, so it was one of these things that really started garnering some attention, and you know, the developers started to pay attention, so that we were, you know, that we were committing resources to improving the area, and that
Yeah,
was
nice library
Yeah,
too.
I know. I've been there for a few meetings, like police community relation meetings. I think I went to 2 or 3 there, and a few other type of community type meetings. And you know, I've been in several of the different meeting areas, and I'm like, wow, this is really nice. Like,
yeah, it's big, and it's still being maintained, and you know, there's so many kids that use it, and kids from all over the city. You know, there's kids from all over the city go to that library. And they need it. They need the room. They need the facility. You go there during the summer. There's summer reading programs. The place is packed. It's packed. They could serve 150, 200 kids, you know, during reading programs, and you know, these are kids that really want to learn. They're coming out during the summer.
Right, that's impressive.
And their parents are taking
Because I know a lot of
them there.
kids, they're not leaving the video games like all day. Like that's all they're doing in the summer. Like
It's
they're not.
amazing program that takes place there.
You can't get them out the house. Like now, your parents just like go out and play. Like that's like a punishment to them. Like you know what I'm saying? Like go out and play. Like
Leave my Xbox.
Yeah.
Well,
If anybody wanted to reach you, find out more about you, your website, social media, anything along those
there's-
lines.
you know,
or-
I should know the website address, but I don't. I mean, I think it's Liam for Yonkers. That's it.
Okay.
LiamForYonkers.com.
Okay.
And you know, they can always, if they got constituent questions or issues, they can always reach me at City Hall. My City Hall number is 377-6060, and Yeah, hope to be back for another term, and I'll be happy to come back here and chat with you
Absolutely.
guys anytime.
I want to thank you for coming because
My pleasure.
everybody doesn't.
I apologize for
everybody
for
doesn't
so.
come. Like, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes
I didn't have a
Republicans
choice.
here-
Lorraine told me I was coming.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Lorraine. Thank you, Lorraine. But we have Democratic chairman telling Democratic Party candidates do not go on that show.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean,
You know, a lot
it's
of
not
people
even.
come here too.
Yeah. No, we get a
No.
lot of people from the county, but it just always taking your time to come through.
We
greatly
got
appreciate
8
you.
candidates from Yonkers so far.
See that?
Actually, yes.
All right.
Probably, yeah. Probably, pretty much.
Well, good. So you're getting the Yonkers people. Well, you're right here in Yonkers, so we
Right,
really don't
right,
have much of an
right,
excuse,
right.
you know?
If I can get the mayor to come through one day, that'd be
I'm
a
sure
big
you
deal.
will.
Yeah,
I'm sure you
I'm
will.
still waiting for that to
Yeah.
happen.
No, I'm sorry. My schedule's just been so crazy that I
Yeah.
haven't, we've had a hard time finding a date, but today worked out great.
Well, I greatly appreciate it, and good luck. And
It's my pleasure. I'll be back.
all right,
All right? Guys, thank you all. Nice to meet you all.
My Irish brother.
Take care.
Thank you, honey.
Good to see you.
If you were interested after the primary, coming on with your you and the other candidate coming on together.
You gonna
Yes.
say the name, see?
Good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't want me to say it during the end. I'm trying to,
No problem. That sounds good.
Pepsi never mentions Coke in the commercials. You know what I'm saying?
All right, guys. I'll see you all.
Bye, good luck.
I want to give him another round of applause. That was the Yonkers City Council President. I met him a couple years ago at the Independence Party fundraiser. Doc Cavallo introduced us.
He's one of the reasons I became a Republican.
Okay.
He influenced me.
Okay. We still like you though, even though you're Republican. No. We always mess with her. She's an Astorino person. She's a Republican.
Ain't nothing. Wait, who said here we go? There's nothing wrong with that.
Here we
There is
go.
nothing wrong with
But
that.
that makes for good radio. I think it makes for good radio because if I had everybody
Yeah,
on
because you
here
balance, right.
who
You get different
thought
opinions.
like me, then there's no
Look, make-
challenge and there's no right. There you go.
I've been challenged. I've been challenged all my life, so it's just something normal.
Good radio, good television, and good paper.
Yeah. Actually, great. So I don't know where I left off with y'all, so we're just gonna jump back in.
We want to talk about this primary we got coming up.
Right.
I think that's very important for us right now.
Okay.
For those of you in TV land and radio land who don't know, our Republican opponents decided to get 2 registered Democrats to run on his ticket this year as Democrats. So we're facing a primary with them now, and the story goes as far as going back to the petition. Yeah, there you go. Oh, yeah. Black Westchester covered it. For those of you who didn't see it or didn't hear about it, go make sure you get your copy so you know what's going on. But they were going as far as telling people that they were running on the Democratic ticket. They even told people that they were running with me.
Including your grandmother.
Well, I was getting to that point, but
Yeah,
you
yeah,
stole
yeah.
my punchline, brother. But yes, sir, that's how we actually found out about it first. My grandmother was tricked into signing a petition against me and my slate because she was told that the other opponents who ran into her at the grocery store stated that they were running on the ticket with me. When we were door knocking, and this is just recently too, as a matter of fact, we were door knocking, and there was somebody who told us that they not only did they assure that they were Democrats, but they assured that they would never run with somebody like Catalina. So a lot of people were manipulated or tricked into believing something. So we're pushing it out on social media and our websites and phone calls and even in person when we see people. We're not trying to divide the community by telling people that you have to follow trend of who the public or who the Peace Scale Democratic Committee chooses to run for you. We believe in democracy. If you don't think that these candidates are up to the task and you want to step up, then you can. But just don't lie to the people and say that you're running with me, knowing that they are. Don't lie to the people saying that you wouldn't run with the Republican or with the current mayor, knowing that you are. That's all that we're asking. So we're not telling people just vote for them because they were endorsed. They have a lot of qualities that just show just in the petition process. That's way better than the other ticket. Mm-hmm. And this is just the beginning stages for them. I mean, they've done so much in this community that it's beyond measures to actually try to explain all that they've done so far. When you read the information from the other ticket, they tell you all of these great things that they've done outside of Peak Scale. We help raise businesses in Brooklyn. We help raise tax money for an organization in Queens, and we help do this in Jersey. Everything that they've done, they started at home first. And I think that's what's important. So we're not asking people to get out there and just vote for them because they were endorsed only by the by the Peekskill Democratic Committee, which is a great reason too, because they have great reason behind it, but because they stand for something. You know,
Well,
they
and,
stand
and,
for
and
something.
you're being nice. Do not be fooled by Dinos. The Democrats in name only.
Right.
He won't,
Right,
he won't
right.
say it. I'll say
You know,
it.
and you know, again, like also, you know, we have. I mean, the I'm sure in other cities and in states they do it as well. But in Peekskill, we have monthly meetings with the Democratic Committee, so you know people can actually come and voice their opinion. You know, you've never seen these people at these meetings.
I have.
Ever.
I've been just to say a few positive things. Knowing Andre, Raymond, and now Vanessa, I can tell you, you're talking about integrity. You're talking about people that care about people. You're talking about a group of individuals that are going to be engaged regardless of what the situation is. I don't know Vanessa as well, but for Andre and Raymond to be involved with her, I have to know. And I know Colin. So I'm going to tell you from someone that lived in Peekskill, and people know me up there because I make a lot of noise. Because I have no fear. That's here in Peekskill and Mount Vernon. I call it like I see it. And I'm not here to be biased. If you're going to do something, I called him one. What was it that I called you about? And you jumped right on it.
The Yonkers, Greenberg meeting
Right,
at
you
Greenberg.
came down there, but
Yeah.
it was something that you did in Peekskill that I was concerned
basketball.
about. Right, it was something about that, and he jumped right on it, and that was as a councilman. So when you're able to communicate, reach out to your councilman or whatever, and I did the same thing when. And no knock against Catalina, but it is a knock. When I spoke to him, the first time I spoke to him when he ran, I said, we need a youth facility here. Because our kids, and just like you talked about, Raymond, I said, we need to umbrella it. And there's PALs, Boys and Girls Clubs that can, you can work with, the city government works with to bring here. I never heard no more about it. Him and whoever he was running with. My thing is, if you want to change the direction of your city, you have to invest in your youth.
Yes.
Right.
Educationally, athletically, through all types of programs.
What Corey said, the youth may only be 10 or 20% of your population, but they are 100% of your future.
That's right.
Yeah.
And, on
like
that
that.
note, as far as this ticket, from the people in Peekskill, be smart. Support integrity.
Right.
It's not just about who they are. It's about the integrity, the honesty, and being fair. And that's what you want in city government. You want someone to lead with integrity.
Right. So
Right.
I'm definitely gonna let them speak. I'm just a little excited.
Well, I wanted to ask you, so now, what made you make the leap to run for mayor?
Oh man, the support of the community was really what inspired me. But I was hesitant at first. When you get in politics, you get those close relatives that call you crazy.
Yes.
So that kind of held me back. And also just seeing some of the stuff that I've seen from my first election kind of discouraged me a little bit. But also I realized that stuff that you experience during your campaigns, that's what prevents the good people, I consider. Not saying anybody's necessarily bad.
Right,
that
right, right.
prevents the good people who actually care about their homes and communities from actually getting involved.
Right.
Especially when you're going against, the opposing ticket, which can be, as some call, the machine. That you have people that are already in politics that have people in place. They have people that they have, like, they call somebody, some crazy lady, they called her the Republican pit bull at one time. It's like they have people in place to prevent people who really want to do good for their city to get involved. So when putting all of this together, I felt, maybe I should actually take a chance at doing something more for my community. Because there's going to be a lot of people who follow me, as you said, those youth, those young adults, and those kids. They look at somebody like me as like, he's from our community. So if he can make it, I could do it. I had one of the local artists reach out to me on Facebook just saying, I'm going to vote for you because you make me feel like I could be a mayor. And it's like, you can.
Wow.
It's not, but I'll tell you what really, really set the fire. We had a developer come to Peekskill, do this project, the Fort Hill project. It's a $90 million project. I was persuaded to believe that if I didn't vote for this pilot, which was an $8 million pilot, one of the biggest pilots in the city, in the Westchester County.
For how many years?
10.
10, okay.
So if I didn't vote in favor of this pilot, this developer would walk away. So I voted in favor of it. And it's, like I said, it's the biggest pilot that Westchester's ever seen for a developer for a project like this. So as my first term on council, the last thing I want to do is be the one to prevent a project this wonderful, this big in the city from coming to the city of Peekskill. But in our charter, when you have projects like that, residential hotel, whatever. If you have nothing to offer to the youth or to the families, such as a playground or a pool, then you're according to the charter, you have to donate a certain amount of money to the city to go straight to Parks and Recreation. In this case, it was $75,000. So the mayor decided that we were going to waive that fee for this developer.
Whoa.
So me being an advocate for the children, there's no way in the world you're going to get me to vote in favor of that. I already paid this man $8 million. So another 75. How often do you go to a restaurant and say, I'm going to get more and more food, but I'm not going to pay the tip or the tax? You don't do that. So what happened was, after that, I actually reached out to the secretary of this developer. We went back and forth in a few emails, and the developer actually wrote back saying, we were never against that fee. We just wanted to be ensured that actual $75,000 went to an actual project rather than being spread around the city, and we never know what happened.
I remember that.
So I said, well, that's beautiful. What's wrong with that? We can go for that. And he actually said, I would suggest the park right across the street from Bowman Towers. One, because it's in a low, it's a low income area. It'll change the environment, the energy, and plus it goes right up to his project. So it benefits, one hand wash the other. So we brought this to the council. The city manager, said that he got in contact with them and they told him, and everybody was excited. And then you get this rant from this man that's on the council, actually the mayor. You think that you know everything. You think that you can run the city. If you sow this and you sow that, you the new guy. You don't know nothing. You know all of that. Won't you run for mayor? And then that's how it starts. So that from that point on, is like, you know what? I'm one of those people that if you tell me I can't do, I do twice. If you tell me I can't play basketball in your gym, I want to try to build a gym over here and invite all your friends to come play with me and tell you can't come in here. So right. Even when I first ran for council, it was just I told them I wanted to run for council because the Democrats have been reaching out to me for like 5 or 6 years to do it. And one year I finally decided, let me give in and see what it's about. I got more involved, and when I finally said I would, the Democrats told me not to put it out because we're going to do a press release. We're going to make this big. And I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be on TV, News 12, I'm cool with that. So the mayor and this same crazy lady, that I won't mention the lady's name, came to my youth center while I was at work and basically told me that I was running with the wrong ticket. I was running with the ticket that's going to slow the city of Peekskill down and all this other crazy stuff. And I said, it doesn't matter who I run with. This is Peekskill. If I run with them, I can work with you. If I ran with you, I can work with them. They just asked me first. Lady tells me, if you run with them, this is bigger than you. I'm going to have to ruin you. Wow. So I got my phone, and she says, who you calling? I said, I'm not calling anybody. I'm putting on my social media that I'm running with the Democrats. Start ruining me. And that's what started my councilman run. So it's just, when you see certain things happen and you know that you have to make a stand, you go for it.
So did you thank them for your success?
Oh, my goodness. Do it every day, every Monday night I do, But, so with that being said, everything that I've seen in local politics, it hasn't discouraged me. It's actually pulled me towards wanting to actually be that change, And I know that I got to be cautious because anybody that looks like me, any mistake I make, they're going to refer them to me every time. Oh, he's going to be just like Councilman Rainey. He's going to be doing something crazy. So I try to keep myself, knowing I'm on thin ice, I'm trying to be the best ice skater out here. But I know with the slate that I'm working with now, their background speaks for itself. Vanessa, Ramon, and Colin, they're all community people. They always fight for the best interest.
And you just got the endorsement of State Senator Latimer.
Sandy Gallup. They got plenty of endorsements, And it's just because people know what they're about. They may not have that. People are telling us that they're gonna do all of this. They have business experience. The other ticket, they have business experience and this and that, but they don't do it for their people. Everything that they do is for themselves. These people are doing everything they can for the people in our community, and that's what's important. You need people in position to care about the community, and that's what these three offer to the table, and that's why I'm fighting so hard for our people to get out there and vote on September 12th for Vanessa Agudelo, Ramon Fernandez, Colin Smith. And one last thing before they let them speak, we had a forum this past Saturday, hosted by the NAACP, Peekskill chapter of the NAACP, and the president of White Plains NAACP was there as well. And there was a forum.
Lena Anderson?
No, not Lena.
I know who you're talking.
Yeah, not Lena. The other lady. Oh my goodness. I'll get her name for you in a minute. But Ramon, Vanessa, and Colin were all there, and the other ticket didn't show up.
Absolutely, I know.
So the opportunity to give the people a chance to hear what your voice.
I just want to say something. I've said that before. I can't tell you who to vote for, but one thing to pay attention to is people that don't show up.
Right.
And they don't think you don't think they're important. If they're not going to show up to tell you their what they're about. You know what I'm saying? And
And
you
they
might
don't-
want to consider that
Right.
when you hit the ballot box.
because they don't consider you important enough to be there. So that's how I see it.
I agree with you 100%
Right.
on that.
Because certain groups, they would not snub certain groups. There's
Right.
certain groups you're just not snubbing.
You're not snubbing, and with that, if they already said they were going to come there and then don't show, oof.
But I don't know. I think maybe when you don't have answers, you cannot show up. I remember the 5 questions they sent to us, and one of those was talking about the youth, and I said my answer clear. We're gonna have a new central fire department over there, so we're gonna have a couple empty buildings. There are a fighter house and close to the high school.
Right.
One is next to the Peekskill Youth Bureau. One of my suggestions and my proposal that we have very clear on that. It was why we don't use that building next to the high school to have a vocational school.
That's right.
Like many other kids over there in Peekskill, they had to go to Boses in Georgetown, but only when they are in the high school. And it was good that we have the conversation with the council member here, the president for the Junkers. When you mentioned about that, not every kid go to the college.
Right. Every kid's not made for college. Like there's some
and
kids.
it's the reality. So that school, if we can have that school local, when the people, the kids, the young people, they can learn anything, plumbing, carpenter, business, whatever. You have a building for 2 levels that you can use it for anything. Right there, 1 block for the high school. They don't have to. The school, they don't have to pay buses, so you're gonna save some money. And Boses, we can make a deal like a school district, the city, and Boses. We can provide the building, they can provide the teachers.
That's right.
And that's something that we can share, like you say, okay, we finish 2:45, something like that, the school
2:30,
time.
something like
So now we're gonna open for the other adult young people, their drop out for the school or whatever they are, and they
GED
can go right
classes and all
there.
that, yeah.
We can use it in the evening time, the night time, and then we're gonna even create job because the people they're gonna work over there. So there's a couple things about that I mentioned for that, and about the Kylie Center. I had a conversation with Fredo Morel. You know very well. I don't know 10,560 hours, 10,560.
1056 hours. Yep.
Yes. And I did a couple questions, even a couple former official elected from Peekskill. Kylie Center was a city property.
Yeah.
And I think it was our Republican administration decided to sell to the housing.
Yeah.
And now it's like in a limbo because housing authority doesn't want to spend money over there. They don't have the budget or whatever
Didn't
they
have
want.
people that wanted to purchase.
They had people that wanted to purchase. They wanted to sell the building for $1 million as is. And we were able to get just in the last year, we got the ceiling fixed, we got the inside painted. We had a few things done too. We just had a flood recently. As a matter of fact, 2 Saturdays ago, we had a flood, and I was able to get there before the maintenance man was able to get there. So, the priority of that building is still not where it should be. Well, I'll say that for another conversation. But it's very valuable that the youth are something that these candidates focus on collectively. And it's the purpose of basically just standing up for the kids because they can't for themselves is important, because we've had some incidents just recently in the city of Peekskill where some young adults were involved in some actual activities that hit the news that was challenging for our city to bear as something that happens in our community. And the response wasn't, this happened, or I shouldn't say the response wasn't from some people, this happened, let's see what we can do. Ramon, for example, was one that when this incident happened with these young adults, they was like, they robbed and they beat up somebody, he went to the people who got hurt. He went to their homes after the injury and invited me, myself, NAACP, and pastors and bishops. Like, he was the one that initiated the unification of all of us figuring out what are we going to do to prevent this going forward. Then you have the other side that says, you know what, we're going to make a press release out of this, and we're going to say it's the judge's fault. She's the one that's wrong with this, and this Councilman Rainey's fault because he voted for this judge, and this, and that. Like, you have people like this that's going to step up and actually be leaders and say, you know what, this is what's wrong with the community. Let's see what we can do to change it. And when you don't cater to your children, you can't expect them to want to do anything else other than get in trouble. If you don't think that the youth center is even important enough to take care of, and you're not going to try to work on getting a new youth center, what are they going to do after 3 o'clock when they get out of school? He fights for that. She fights for that. Colin fights for that. And ask the other side. They don't care about that youth center. That's why we sold it 20 years ago. We don't care about that place. Place is run down. It's all out of shape. Nobody cares. So
Brother AJ, I really got to run, so I want to say something real quick, and I'm going to get out of here.
Is Jeff coming through? You need him to come through?
If you want to bring him in real quick.
I'm saying, did he have, or just you that's
No, I'm going to say something. Jeff would have, I have a home now in 2 cities, in Charlotte and in Mount Vernon. I'm working on the house. That's why I'm here fixing up the house in Mount Vernon, trying to get some work done. And I've talked to several candidates that's running down there. Had the opportunity to talk to Marcus Griffith, Butch Thomas, Hope, Clyde Isley, Janice Durante. I haven't talked, I really don't know too many other candidates. I would have liked to talk to all of them. And at this time right now, as a Mount Vernon resident that will be selling, putting his vote out there, I'm only impressed with 2 right now, and I'm going to say them, and there's still time to impress me, but Clyde Isley has impressed me a great deal. Janice Durante. I'm still up in the air on anybody else. I'm not hearing what I need to hear because in Mount Vernon, which the focus is a little different, I'm concerned about youth and I'm concerned about crime.
Absolutely.
And property taxes.
Absolutely.
So I say that to the listeners out there that know me. People know me throughout Westchester because I've lived in White Plains, Mount Vernon, Peekskill. I'm about integrity. I'm about keeping it real. I'm not sitting here. I made a mistake when I voted in the last mayoral election in Mount Vernon. Unfortunately, I can admit that. But this time I did my homework, and I really think that these individuals would benefit the city. With that being said, I would like to say my adieu.
And also, before you make your third choice, and I might as well say it today because it's coming out tomorrow, you might want to read my editorial. Marcus must go.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
And
No.
all the reasons why
Okay.
he should not be reelected.
Like I said, I met with him. I talked with him. I'm not impressed. And Clyde Isley has impressed me. Janice Durante has. I would have liked to spoken to what's my girl's name? Robin Myers.
We got they actually showed up.
Right. I wanted to speak to her, and hopefully I can reach out before I leave because I sit down with my family and we do a block. We vote as a block. So I'd be very interested in all of that.
Right.
With that being said, good luck, Andre. You are the man. Your ticket is the man and women. I know. I believe in you guys. I believe in you guys. I've believed in you a long time. I've been a big supporter of yours, and you've been trying to get me to do things, even in the past. But things happen as they do. Mount Vernon, Peekskill, vote with your mind, not your heart.
Absolutely.
Peace.
Appreciate you coming through. As always, friend of the show. On your way out, send Maxwell in. Now, before I get any further, anybody seeing y'all now, seeing the show, want to contact y'all, find out more about y'all, social media, websites, would y'all like to give that information? Maxwell, yeah. Would y'all like to?
One Peekskill on Facebook.
One piece, say it again.
One Peekskill
Okay.
on Facebook.
Yeah, you can find all of the information on One Peekskill, ONE Peekskill New York, or ONE Peekskill, that has all of their information as far as what their platform goes. What policies they're trying to introduce to the city of Peekskill, initiatives that they're making. But I would also like, so if we got a little time, a minute or two, just to, get get a little background of what Vanessa's done and what Ramon has done as well. Because she's put in so much work. You know, I was invited to one of her programs months ago, a fundraiser she held. That was for the pipeline, right, at the District Grill.
No, actually, that was what did we do after Trump?
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, it was more of an organizing.
Resistance.
Yes, it was a resistance kind of meeting. My background's in organizing.
Right.
And
So is mine.
yeah.
There you go. See, we collaborate with
Yeah.
her now.
I was the first community organizer in Yonkers.
We here to network. That's what we here
just
for.
like the beautiful thing was, we had about 80 people there, which that's a lot for a small restaurant. And there were so many people from all over Westchester, all over Putnam, and those areas. We're talking like North Salem, Mayapack. These areas are red, you know.
Right.
But there are people that exist there that are really scared about what's going on national level, and they realize that all politics is really local.
You got some Republicans out there saying, "Oh, what did I do?"
Yeah.
Right.
I was in Mamaroneck the other day, and they were not happy with what's going on.
Right.
Yeah, a lot
They
of people
not
are
happy.
frustrated. Yeah.
Not happy. These are people who voted Republicans, and
Right.
they are not happy.
Well, if anything, if elected to council, I will work When you're right,
There you go.
when elected to council, I will work collaboratively with anyone that I'm sitting next to. The council is there because they were voted in and they represent our population, and I will work with them regardless of what affiliation they come from. But I do praise Republicans who come out against their national leader. Because a lot of them have said that they are against Trump, and I think that needs to be voiced. I think it's very important.
I think Trump is beyond Republican and Democrat. Unfortunately.
Yeah, he's the Antichrist.
Yeah, he's
Republican.
beyond Republican and Democrat when it comes down to that individual.
Ramon?
And our opposition actually had a fundraiser at the Trump Hotel, so it just goes to and it just goes to show where they stand.
Yeah, they didn't invite me. I don't know why they didn't.
I didn't get an invitation either. Black Westchester didn't get it. We get press releases from them, but they're not.
Right. That's about it.
They want to. Yeah, they
And
want
they
to.
didn't even contact you. They might have to have somebody contact you instead of them.
Yeah, right. But they know how to contact me when they send a press release. Though.
Ramon, give us some.
Yeah, well, almost I didn't say nothing about me because we started talking about the DACA and everything.
Right.
I recorded it because I was really very interested to say what I say that. But I am small business owner. I am car owner operator in Rio Taxi over there in Peekskill. Unfortunately, our friend, he just left. I think he was a police officer, retired, yes. So I would like to ask him, well, I know where you live, but I know you have a home over there in Peekskill. And that's what on my great point that I want to bring over there. I know every place in Peekskill.
Yeah.
So I know almost every area, every neighborhood. I know what is good in Peekskill. I know where we have something that was not very nice, and I have that feedback for the people directly, because even I drive at the taxi. So, and it's for any ethnicity, any kind of social class, like a middle class, high class, whatever. The people who really need it, senior, young people. So. I know many places and many issues that we had to improve directly for the people. So that's one of the things that people, maybe people, if they don't know me, I want to let them know that that's one of the opportunity that we have in Peekskill too. If I have a chance to they elect me. So.
And that's interesting too, you being owning a taxi, because taxi drivers are like bartenders. Everybody just tell you their problems. Everybody tell you what's wrong. They just they in the back of your car. So you kind of get to know what's going on a little bit like that too.
Right. Let me tell you something. Sometimes I joke with some customer, close customer, obvious. Like, you know what? I'm a Catholic, so sometimes I feel like my car is like a confessionary. The only thing that I cannot do in the add solution for the sin because I can. So, and sometimes like when you are a psychologist that you can, and sometimes we do that. Sometimes they come in people with trouble, and son, you can give in some advice. I can do it for young people, for even between marriage and something like that. We can talk about some joke of that, but I don't gonna take the time for that now. But when you meet people for different places, you can have a different experience and learn something. That I remember a couple years ago when my son graduated from Peekskill High School. I draw one. I have one of the customers was a young guy from Austin, and then he was going to SUNY Purchase, and he started to tell me about how he did the process to get a scholarship and everything, and then I start to learn about the how important it is to have a SAT test and the ACT, and I asked him, how do you prepare for taking the SAT? And he told me, oh, the school district give me the school gave me the preparation. I said, really? Oh, we don't have that thing in Peekskill. And I start, like Andrew said, I like to get involved. When I start to go to the PTO meeting, when I start to go to the school board meeting, and the parents and teachers, I start to say, why we don't have this here? Why don't we have a ACT preparation? My other daughter, she just graduated last year, and when the school year started, the chief of the council, he just pointed, we got it this year. So I said, oh, thank God they listened to me. Because, just sometimes you have to try to let them know, to the leader, what do you need? And try to do a little push. So that's why I always say, like, I am a community person. I am member for the Assumption Church. It's a Catholic church. It's the huge Hispanic population go to there. And I was one of the leaders for the Hispanic Charismatic group. I am minister for the communion. I had to go to Sundays to the sick people, senior people, to bring the communion in their house, sometimes in the nursing homes, and because they cannot go to the church. I was visit the county jail for spiritual health and working with the people for 1 year. I did it. And like I mentioned, I'm one of the co-founders for the Peekskill Hispanic Community Corps, the Peekskill Youth Soccer Club, and like I like to be involved. And I was not involved in politics before in Peekskill in local. I did it in Dominican Republic when I was younger over there, but it's a different thing. But I was not expected to get involved in politics in Peekskill. After November 8th, after my friend here start to push about and to try to bring back the Human Relations Commission in Peekskill, I start to go there and say, you know what, we need to do some change here local. After my teenagers, they told me after November 8th, after Trump, they will be involved in a local politician. I say, why? If they say that, why I'm so quiet in that thing? But a couple of friends asked me about if I want to decide to run for city council, and I was a little bit, on the side, sometimes maybe a little bit afraid. But one of my closer friend, she told me, because I didn't mention that I ran for school board 2 years ago, but I was trying to another friend of mine run. And even I ran against our partner, he's not here calling me. But that was the time when we made friends. Right. And I support a couple of people and run for the school board. And she told me, my friend, when I asked her, what do you think about if I decide to run or not? And she told me, oh, now you are afraid? You like to push another person, and now they ask you to, and I say, you know what, I would do it. And I think we can do a lot of change in Peekskill. I love, always I say, we joke about that I am the senior for the slate. I am the older, but
I thought Colin was older.
no, I am.
But Peekskill is a very unique town.
Right.
You know, it's classy. It has its elegance. It's special, and I've been there since 2011.
Okay, good.
And coming from the city, I love it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot to offer. You know,
We
and I
got
have to say
everything.
one thing, and I'm sure everybody here would agree with me. One of the hidden secrets in Peekskill out of New York State is the Peekskill Police Department.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, those men and women are amazing.
Yep.
Let me tell you, it's just
And
work with those officers. They walk down the street, and they will say hello to you.
yeah.
You go to other municipalities, you say hello to an officer, they will look at you and won't say anything. Peekskill Police Department officers, you don't have to say hello. They say hello to you. Shaking, how you doing?
Yeah.
And the
Big ups to
Peekskill Police Chief,
Department.
the
Actually,
Peekskill Police Chief is the only police chief in the 43 municipalities of Westchester who has come on the show.
I'm
Awesome.
telling you, I mean, the officers are
Yeah.
amazing.
They've actually allowed me to go on ride-alongs with some of the police just to see what they do during
Professional,
their
right?
shift. Yeah. So I get an
Amazing.
idea of what they do.
and
during their
I'm
shift.
part of the NAACP, and the NAACP, our chapter in Peekskill actually is starting kind of like a police community advisory board. And
Right.
the police was so welcoming of it. You know, you hear about this stuff going on in other places, and the police just hate it, right? But no, like they sat down with the NAACP, and they let them know about their issues, and we're working collaboratively, and that's beautiful.
I went
you
to
know?
I went to a forum they invited us to, the police and the
Yeah, I remember,
NAACP.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
I'm
that.
saying
Yeah.
the Peekskill Police Department should be an example
Absolutely.
throughout this state on how police departments should be run.
There you go.
And I'm emphasizing that because I have nothing but love and respect for them. And I'm coming from cities, all other municipalities. Peekskill Police Department is nothing but class and respect.
Right.
Special
I
thanks
just
to
wanted to
Chief.
emphasize that.
Special thanks to Chief Johansson and Peekskill Police.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Sergeant Echols.
There you go. I just want
Yep.
to put a plug in real quick before they finish off. For those of you who are interested, if you have any questions about the primary, if you want to know how you can support, how you can help, how you can volunteer throughout this election, you can. If you're in the Peekskill area, or if you'll be in the Peekskill area, if you just want to know what's going on, please feel free to visit us at our headquarters. It's 9 Bank Street in Peekskill, New York, 10566. Once again, it's 9 Bank Street, and during the weekend they have the farmers market for a few more weekends, I believe. So you can do some shopping as well when you get there. And
What are
there's
the
a diner
hours
right
of the
there.
office, the Bank Street office?
Oh, shoot.
It's late, right? I think they-
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
usually there from about
No,
11
9
a.m.
o'clock.
to
That's
about 10 or 11
okay,
at
just
night.
wanna
Yeah, you might
emphasize
even
that.
catch us in there about
Yeah,
12:30.
so
we have
after
a
work,
meeting,
stop
so-
by.
Yeah, we
Absolutely.
definitely do. So yeah, but 9 Bank Street, please come through. We'll give you any information. If you want a lawn sign, if you just want some palm cards, or you just, like I said, if you just want to meet the candidates or just sit down and see what we're getting into or what we're involved in, 9 Bank Street is the place to be.
And one thing, 4 years ago, one of the Republicans, he won for 3 votes.
Yes. Yeah, one of
So
our
every vote
Every
matters.
vote counts.
Absolutely.
Every vote
Our city court judge 2 years ago, he was on the show 2 weeks before the primary. He actually won by 6 votes on election night, but then after the absentee and all that, it ended up being 40. But still, like on election night, it was. And he said, like, if I hadn't been on the show, you know, because a lot of people were undecided, I could have been the one that lost by 40. Like, he credits this for, you know, like, so every vote does count.
Please don't
And,
take it for
and
granted.
even
Look
our
what
mayor-
happened.
Even the mayor's race, when the last time Davis won, he won by
Yeah.
101 votes.
Well, now
You know what I'm saying?
And part of the reason why I'm here is because I mean, I'm 25 years old. People look at me, I'm knocking on doors, going all over Peekskill, and people want to, like, I've actually had someone pinch my cheeks because I'm so young. They don't even think I'm out of high school. But the reality is I represent a generation
Of
that
course.
does not feel like the
Very
system works
important.
for them. And to some degree, I do resonate with that. And that's exactly what I'm here to change. You know, I'm
That's
here.
beautiful, and I hope more young people see you and are encouraged to make that leap or to step up and be involved. In the 2015 election, I registered like 200-300 18 to 24-year-old first-time voters, which expanded the voting pool a lot, you know, because nobody cares about them. They just, them people that vote, that's all they care about. Them regular people that always vote, mostly old people, that's all they cater to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And I also just want to put a message out. Don't wait for someone to come find you, you know, because you got to go after what you want. And the reason why I'm here is because I put myself in this position. I started organizing, I started mobilizing, I started finding community members and organizations that aligned with my values and brought them together to see how we can come up with the solutions that work for everyone. And anyone can do that. I mean, you can do that if you're in high school, if you're in the middle school. You can do that from wherever you're at, and eventually it snowballs into this huge effect, and you realize that you can make a difference no matter where you come from, how old you are, who you are. It's definitely possible. So I do want to let the youth know that it's so important to get civically engaged. You become conscious about what's going on. I mean, I know that people say politics isn't for everyone, but at the end of the day, like, every move we make is political. Who we buy from, where we put our money, like who we decide to run with, it's all affecting our day-to-day life, especially local politics.
The local politics is
Absolutely.
more important than the national election, to the point
Absolutely.
that if you don't like the way your city is being policed, the mayor appoints the police commissioner.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the mayor appoints a lot of the commissioners. So if you don't like certain things in your city, you can affect the change by voting in your city as opposed to by voting for the president. I'm not saying don't vote for a president, but this election is even more to your day-to-day interactions, So, any last words that I ain't actually you just want to get out any quick?
I think we all want to say thank you, Black Westchester, for having us here this evening. We appreciate the platform. We're gonna get our ad in this next newspaper. I can assure you. I can assure you that. But thanks for inviting us to come down, being patient with us, working through our schedule challenges. Also, thanks to the viewers and listeners. We appreciate all the supporters and volunteers that continuously help us and pretty much motivate us to keep doing what we do. Also want to thank the city of Peekskill, more importantly, my family and friends that have always kind of encouraged me. And, I plan on coming back again to speak a little bit on behalf of the election for the mayor position. But right now, I just want to make sure that, the vision that I have for Peekskill is going to be almost impossible to make without like-minded people. So, anybody out there that supports me, if you really support me, September 12th is going to make that difference, for everything that I've done, that I'm trying to do, and that I want to do. So please get out there September 12th and recognize these names: Vanessa Agudelo, Ramon Fernandez, and Colin Smith. Helping them is helping me, so thank you.
No doubt. That's what's up. And I'd like to thank y'all for taking the time to come through. Like I said, you've been through, when you were running for council. You've been through a few other times too, but a lot of candidates won't come through. A lot of candidates we can't get on the phone. A lot of candidates I can't get comments when something happens in their city. It don't help when you have a Democratic chairman telling people not to come on the show. So,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Stay away from there.
Right. Well,
You got to be honest on that show.
Yeah, we hope to be back so we can actually talk about the issues, because we got some great ideas for Peekskill, and we all come from such different backgrounds.
Yes.
We all have something so unique and so beautiful to bring to Peekskill, and we're here to represent the people, and I love people before politics. That's exactly what it's about, It's about the people power.
Right.
That we're here to serve you, and that's what we want to do. We're not here to put ourselves on this pedestal or build ourselves up. It's not about that. We have to do it for the people, and that's the kind of people you got to vote in.
And
I'm sorry, I don't live in Peekskill because you got my vote. I'm just thoroughly impressed. I'm
Right.
like,
There you go.
yeah.
Just a little reminder. This Tuesday, September 12th, go to vote for Vanessa Agudelo. John, but a strong woman.
Thank you.
For Colin Smith, he's a lawyer, professional, small business over there in Peekskill. For Ramon Fernandez. But in November, we're going to have the second round. Now in September 12th, this Tuesday, we're going to vote for the real Democrat.
Right.
And you're going to vote in November for 3 people, starting for the next mayor, Andrew Rainey over here. 3 people who born and raised in Peekskill, and 1 that came to Peekskill and has 2 kids. They graduate from the school in Peekskill, and 1 younger, she's just 3 years old, that I hope that she got a very, very new and quality of life in Peekskill, and she can go to everywhere and nobody tell her you cannot be judged. Do you remember that phrase that unfortunate president he said to the George Curiel, that because he was a Mexican he was not
yes.
so I don't want that thing for my little girl.
Right.
Nobody can tell her that. So, and that's the thing that I have.
That individual is a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
point.
we
Like I
can.
said, it's beyond
we-
Republican and Democrat.
we need to stop it up from the local level. So
Yeah.
thank you, and thank you for inviting
Yeah,
us.
absolutely.
And can I say buenas noches y muchas gracias?
Yeah.
There you go.
Gracias. Piquito español.
Yeah, me too.
No doubt, no doubt. So vote for the True Party Democrats. That's what I'm reading. I'm reading it right off the.
Endorsed.
Right up
they're
there.
endorsed,
right.
but not just because they were endorsed, but for the reasons and what they stand for.
And we've all made a difference in this community, regardless of being elected. So, you know, and that speaks for itself. You know, what are our opponents? What have they done for our community? You know.
Beautiful, beautiful. Again, thank you. Good luck, and I would love to have y'all back on after the primary, and I'm definitely will talk about getting you back on.
Okay, for sure.
Definitely, and make sure you
No, I think
keep
she
reading.
wants a date already.
Right.
I think she want a date before she leaves.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. But I just I'm thoroughly impressed with you for your age. Like, I mean, it's pulling teeth to get a lot of young people to do anything these days.
Amazing.
So I am thoroughly impressed.
Thank
You
you.
know that, and for that you know, and you're well spoken, and you I mean, I'm thoroughly impressed.
I appreciate
You
that.
know, and I hope that, you know, you do get in so you can be an example for other youth throughout the county. Because once they see, you know, one, it's like, well, she's my age.
Yeah.
Oh, she's just a couple of years older than me. Like, look what she's doing. You know, that's where it starts.
Absolutely.
You know, so you know, I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And welcome back. I mean, when you're
And I'm sure that's a testament of your parents and your upbringing.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
My parents have always been hardworking, and they've
Right.
always taught me integrity and respect and love for all human beings.
Right.
So I
Much love to your parents.
Including Republicans.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, even the
Except
Republicans.
For Trump, he can have.
Well, you know, I mean,
I'm not a Trump Republican. I'm an Astorino.
Trump Republican.
She's an Astorino. She's an Astorino Republican.
I'm an
How
Astorino
Republicans want to
Republican.
I'm not a
separate
Trump
themselves.
Republican. Just
I'm an Astorino Republican.
There you go, okay,
That's what she
all
said.
right.
You're we'll leave that topic alone. Ask Astorino why he didn't do nothing since
Oh,
2012 for the office.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and
or
move
why
this.
he took money from
You know, it's hard to be a Republican amongst all you Democrats.
You got to protect your offices. since
Well, I'm
2012.
about to handle some business.
Okay.
I used to
That-
be a
that y'all-
Democrat.
and I like to
used
let
be a
people know.
Councilwoman.
Y'all might want to, you know,
I
say,
would ask the rules.
yeah,
Let's
yeah,
be
yeah.
real.
I'm about to. I have a few minutes where I have to handle a few people. So
Okay, all right,
I
cool.
just want to let you
Okay,
know.
thanks for having us.
No doubt, no doubt. Yo, do a favor, take your phone, get a picture of them.
Yeah.
Picture with the paper, everything, the whole nine.
thing.
Word up. So, we'd like to welcome the Peak Skill candidates for coming down, and we're coming close to the end of the show. And again, I wanted to talk about Omi Medina. Did I say his name right again?
Yes, you did.
Omi Medina. You can see the video on my page. We've started a GoFundMe. I'm really pushing this. I'm really passionate about this.
We are pushing it. We are working
and-
together.
and-
It's
wait,
4 of us.
Can I finish?
No, because you
and I
wasn't
wouldn't
gonna
have
say it if
and
I
would-
didn't say it.
I wasn't finished, and I wouldn't have been. I would not have been involved if it wasn't for Lorraine, because Lorraine was passionate about it first. Actually,
we all came together.
Yanka's voice wouldn't have been involved if it wasn't for Lorraine. 'cause
Remember
she
that
was very
Yanka's
passionate
voice.
first. So she actually So she actually got all of us involved, and grab a couple of papers too. Take the paper picture. Yeah. All right, brother. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Now, I was supposed to ask you a question so you could handle somebody.
Tell me.
What did you do this weekend? And I only got a few minutes, so.
What do you mean so I can handle somebody?
You know, you said you wanted to make sure I asked you what you did this weekend. Or what you did.
Oh, hell no. I did a lot of naughty things that I can't talk about on radio.
Okay, I thought
No.
thought you wanted to discuss a few things. Okay, that's all.
No.
Okay.
Let's get.
Okay, so we're coming to the close of the show. I know we didn't start on time, but I'm just going to end it right now. The September issue is out. Grab a copy real quick. The September issue is out, dedicated to National Hispanic Heritage Month. We have Milagros running for mayor in White Plains, who could make history as the first Hispanic mayor of Westchester, and I think the first Latino mayor in New York State, period. definitely got a cool piece with Willie Colon, the
Willie
salsa
Colon.
social activist.
You got a nice piece with Virginia Perez, who's running for re-election. She's got a primary this Tuesday coming up.
Right, and shout out to Lisa Reyes, Latinos Who Shine in Media. Got a spotlight on her. Definitely good piece by Yusef Salaam, one of the Central Park Five. He said Trump wanted facts before calling out racists, but that wasn't the case when I was on trial. He didn't care. Yeah. He called for them to be convicted right away.
This is an awesome paper. People really need to pick it up.
I thank you. I thank you.
Really.
I thank you.
I got a piece in there.
And this issue really would not have been totally possible without Lorraine's help, because she actually not only introduced me to everybody.
Are the haters listening to this man?
Not only introduced me to everybody in Yonkers, but kind of was my ghetto tour guide through the whole culture. The culture, because you can't write about something that
you don't know what you're talking about
without someone who is to like educate you. So she kind of walked me through the culture, explained it to me a little bit, and made sure I understood what was important, what wasn't important, and I hope that we did a good job.
You did a fantastic job
representing the Hispanic Heritage Month.
You did a fantastic job.
And like I said when I wrote in my opening, we understand that your history is too vast and your accomplishments are too many for anybody to cover in one issue or to celebrate in 1 month, but we tried to do the best we could to
did an amazing job
to represent y'all and to show
and thank you
the black and brown
you.
And kind of one step closer to bringing the black and brown communities together, because we have a lot more in common than we have a difference. So we really need to start working together. When we start talking to each other and start settling, don't work about the division and the accents. When we start really sitting down and talking to each other, we're treated a lot of the same way. Like a piece I got, Latinos Lives Matter. Why they're killing by the cops and not talked to by the mainstream media. You know what I'm saying? That was another article we wrote, when they're just as much likely to be killed or harmed by a police in the police confrontation than we are. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, it's just, you got to know your neighbors and know who you're around. And I was very happy and proud to work on this issue. And again, thanking Lorraine for helping make it possible.
This is real news, folks, not that, blog and stuff that we have sometimes going on there.
Yo, to all the bloggers out there, keep it real. For all of y'all who...
And thank you for the person that just put my mugshot up again.
Oh, today?
Yep. A couple minutes ago.
Oh, okay. And
piece of shit.
All I want to say is, like, real talk, in closing, real talk, that, it's easy to talk about what everybody else is doing. It's easy to talk about everybody else's reputation or their quality of their brand.
Especially when they're a coward.
When you really don't have one yourself. I promote a lot of stuff on Black Westchester, mostly that I've written or that is affiliated with me or is one of my, associates or something. When you make your whole reputation is posting of other people's stuff and you don't create any real content on your own.
You're a loser.
Well, I was going to say it's, you shouldn't judge those who do. And for those
you got no brain to judge.
And for those who don't like the way Black Westchester does things, like the song says, it costs you nothing to pay us no mind. You know what I'm saying? So, there's other publications you can read that cover the other things that you want to read about. You're not going to read that. We're just going to give it to you raw. We're going to keep it real with you. And we're going to try to, get the information to the people. We do it for the people. So I just want to say that, for all the haters out there, thank you very much for being the Quality Control Department, for being our inspiration. Real quick, I think Maxwell has a couple of words real quick.
Real quick, I want to emphasize, Westchester Correction Association is an association of law enforcement, all law enforcement. It's not about race. It's not black. It's not white. It's not Asian. It's law enforcement as a whole. So who we endorse has nothing to do with race. It has to do with who we feel that has the best interest for the safety and security of all law enforcement officers in Westchester County. All law enforcement officers in Westchester County. Sweet. It has nothing to do with race. We want to protect all officers. We want every single officer to go home safe and sound to their family, the same way they got to work. We are not an organization of race. We are an organization of officers. And that's all I got to say.
Well, with that being said, you got any last words?
No, but I know that they endorsed Carmen Gomez Goldberg and Virginia Perez, and they both.
George Latimer.
Much love to Carmen Gomez.
They have
Goldberg.
primaries coming up this Tuesday. People, please come out and
And
vote.
Clive Isley and Janice Duarte, too.
I'm sorry. Miss Goldberg has done her work from the first day she came here. She was on the phone. I can't even listen.
She called attorney. She did everything
Listen,
she had to do. Yep.
And
she's still doing.
And didn't even ask us, and she was doing it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Goldberg. God bless. And yes, I'm honored to give Carmen Gomez Goldberg my endorsement.
Well,
among
that's
the
darn it,
others.
then I'm gonna have to do the same.
All right, and with that we're coming to the close of the show. Lastly, I see Barry McGooey online. My dude, you never told me you had a sister running for anything. You could have called me. I would have definitely done a write up. So you got the number.
I try to get her on. I threw some other
Barry
people.
has my phone number and could have called me.
But the other
and so,
people
this is
have-
my sister. Can you get her in Black Westchester? And she would have been there because that's my dude. But with that being said, you could be doing anything else right now, but you chose to rock with us, and we greatly appreciate it. This is Black Westchester presents the People Before Politics radio show every Sunday 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com. Until next week, peace.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.